And there we are. Finally, we're live. All right. A little bit of a tail end there to that intro. Welcome to Happy Hour with Ronnie Phillips and friends. We do this every Thursday at 4 o'clock, something I've been doing here now, I guess would be the 5th week in a row. Something that's been kind of fun and something to do during these difficult times and this time of quarantine when I've been trying to find a way to keep my brands relevant. And so I'm associated with several different brands. We're going to talk about a brand new business venture that I'm making an announcement today. So the friends that I'm going to have on today's show, and this is a little bit different this week because I'm not necessarily, or at least I'm not planning to just interview or just have discussion with one particular friend in business. There's going to be maybe a handful that are going to pop on here, maybe 30 minutes later. I know I've got one standing by to jump on here momentarily, but they're going to be a part of an announcement that I'm going to be making sometime later on during this live stream that I'm really excited about. It's something that I've been challenging myself along with my partner. He and I both have been challenging ourselves during this difficult time to be creative and innovative. And we think we may have stumbled across something that's it's going to be good for us and possibly good for you as well. So some of the things that I'm associated with: Commercial Cleaning Concepts. We are a nationwide commercial cleaning vendor. We also provide commercial janitorial facility maintenance. And so if you or someone you know has a commercial building and looking to answer some really tough questions post-COVID, as businesses are starting to open back up, there's a lot of questions on how to disinfect and how to clean and what procedures are implemented and to provide the safety for the general public and for their workers. I actually got another friend who's going to be jumping on here. So far, this is going to be the first time ever in this live stream where we've had multiple friends join me for this. So I'm really excited about that. Also, Heartland Waterfowl is a TV show. We're getting ready to launch our 7th season on Sportsman's Channel. That will come out the first week in July. So I'm excited for you to check that out. Our 7th season already. It's hard to believe that we've already produced 7 seasons of Heartland Waterfowl. Also, Little Black Box, if you're looking to save money on your cable or satellite TV, we've got something that we think is going to be able to help you do that and provide more content than you've ever had before. And my wife and I are involved in a program called Zaya Active, which is high-performance active wear clothing that is so comfortable. And it's clothing that is very hip and fresh and something you would wear out in the general public. And it's something that you would wear if you're going to the gym or wanting to work out. As a matter of fact, one of these shirts right here is one of the many items that they offer in the men's line from Zaya Active. So as I mentioned before, we're streaming simultaneously or simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, Periscope, YouTube. And so you can check us out on multiple platforms at one time. Would love for you to engage and chime in. That's what makes this so much fun, is that we do get responses from you. So please feel free to make your comments and interact with myself or any of the guests that are on today's show. So with that said, let's bring them on. We've got 3 different guests. Let me see if we can find a different way of doing this here. How about that? I think that looks good. Does that look good to you guys?
You bet.
You think so? All right. Well, I'd like to welcome some friends to the show. Chad Mitchell with State Farm Insurance, right?
You bet.
And my buddy Brad Korn from the Korn Team Real Estate. How are you?
What's up, Ronnie?
How are you guys?
Doing well, man. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. This is a little bit of a different. First of all, I always do this to start off each show because it is happy hour, right? So I hope that you guys have your beverages with you. Chad, it looks like you're at the office. What kind of
there
water?
You go, Ronnie.
That's your kind of happy hour
right now.
Brad?
My bar's right on the other side of the wall.
Okay. Well, when we take a break, you're going to have to go get something because you're not going to make a good friend drink alone, are you?
No.
All right.
Okay. There's whiskey in here.
You bet.
So, guys, how's it going? How's business been? I guess, Chad, I'll start with you. You kind of chimed in with me earlier today as I was throwing it out there that if anybody was looking to join me on today's show, you said, hey, I'm your guy. And so I'm happy that you're here. And so I'd kind of like to know what's business been like in the insurance world, and maybe kind of give us a little background on how you got involved in insurance and in State Farm and what it is that you do and what you can offer for people like us.
You bet. Well, Ronnie, first of all, good to see you. have loved that you've kind of put this thing together. I think I've caught most of the episodes that you've done. So thanks for doing that.
Yeah.
Insurance world is, we are considered what they call, essential. So we've kind of still been hitting on most of the cylinders out there. We're still kind of doing our thing and still out there helping people and provide the insurance needs that they need. Brad can speak probably more to this, but man, people are still buying houses. They're still buying cars. They're still buying recreational toys. So a lot of that stuff is still happening. Luckily, all of our employees are they're still working. So everybody's still doing well there. So, the business has changed a little bit. Never in my career did I think I would have to offer curbside service, but hey, you can come right on up and honk your horn and call a phone number and we'll come out and see you now. So it's a little different, but we're adapting and we're just becoming used to it. So, as far as the insurance business, I've been in this, man, time flies when you're having fun, I guess, but this is going on number 13 years. So, it's been good. And, just gives us an opportunity to just get out and see different people, learn a lot of different things and work with a lot of different folks. And it's just been a blessing for us here recently, just to be able to still continue to do the things that we're doing. So
good for you. Good. Well, and one of the things I definitely want to talk to you about is how this pandemic has actually impacted the insurance business, because my phone is ringing off the hook from a variety of different providers telling me that rates have gone down. So maybe you can speak to that in just a minute, but let's go to Brad. I know, Brad, you've been involved in the real estate business in many different levels for as long as I've known you, which is going on 15 plus years for sure. My next door neighbor is a mortgage lender, Todd Hedger. And so we actually work out together every single morning. And so he kind of keeps me in the loop of what's going on in the real estate business. And it sounds like, as Chad was alluding to earlier, business is still good in the real estate. People are still looking at homes. People are still selling homes. People are still buying homes.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 29 years. So this is actually my third personal experiencing a shift in the market, as we call it.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the crash of 05 through 08, and then that carried on through about 12 and 13. And I got in when the interest rates came from 13% down to 9%. And that's when I got in, and I rode them all the way down to 6%, which now we're down under 4%. So no, it's been a while. And it's, the great thing about the Midwest is I talk to the top realtors all around the country. I'm connected with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a conference every year with the top 200 techiest realtors. So I get a feel for what's going on around the country. California, New York, whatever's happening there, it takes 10 years to get to Kansas City. We're pretty sheltered in the heartland of the U.S., right in the heartbeat of the U.S.
Yeah.
So there are areas, I know, like Boston right now cannot show a house at all. Canada, you really can't show a house, but they still kind of are. So if you couldn't show houses, that's definitely going to affect selling a house. Here, I mean, we're taking safety precautions. It's harder to show a house because we can't overlap each other, and there's a shortage of homes in Kansas City from that last crash that has not caught up, and there's no way it's going to catch up this summer. I mean, we're already short, and now we're going into summer, and everybody's still moving. So even though the buyer pool may shrink up a little bit, there's not enough houses on the market. So when the really good priced one that's really nice hits the market, I mean, there's 30, 40, 50, 60 showings and 10, 20 offers. Now, if you overprice your house and it's just average to below average, I mean, it might sit on the market for 90 days, and then you just got to adjust until you get it sold. So everything's still selling, and nobody's having to throw their house away, but some houses are getting way more than they probably should in this market. And as long as it appraises out and the appraiser can find a few sales to match, you're going to take advantage of the market.
Sure. And one of the things I want to talk to you about is, if you've seen any kind of knee-jerk reaction in the real estate business with people needing to downsize because they've lost jobs and things like that. And we'll get to that in just a minute, along with the value of real estate right now. Like, where is the market at from when we built our house 4 years ago versus where it's at today? Is it steady? Is it gone down some? Has it gone up? But so we'll dive into that. Chad, I'll come back to you for just a moment. Talk about the impact of the COVID-19 and how it's played into the insurance side of things, because it does look like people have the ability to save money on home and auto insurance now.
Yeah, they do. So this is kind of uncharted territory for a lot of us. There was no playbook or manual when this thing came out on how to do a lot of the things that we're doing. So I think probably what people saw is a lot of TV commercials played towards the fact of a lot of different insurance companies giving back premiums, which, it's hard to believe, insurance company actually giving some money back.
Right.
But the reality of it is that's kind of what's happening right now. State Farm was one of the companies that we were the biggest contributor actually of giving back. We're going to give back over about $2 billion over the course of probably the next few months of what's going to happen. So basically, the way that would work is for the month of March. So from March 20th, when a lot of this started, all the way through May 31st, there's actually going to be some credits that's going to be given back to people for the month of premium during those dates. Biggest reason why is people are driving less. They're driving less. So when you're driving less, the opportunity for accidents to happen is going to be less. So the insurance industry realizes that, the companies realize that, and this is just our way of saying, hey, we're going to give this back.
Mm-hmm.
Different companies are doing it different ways. So can't speak to how a lot of the companies are doing it, but it's all kind of going to be a version of that. What we've found is the most efficient way to do it is just to give those back and bill credits. And like I said, for State Farm, we're going to hope to see a lot of those hit in June,
Mm-hmm.
July, and then depending on when people pay would determine on when the rest of those hit, if they're paying every 6 months or every month. So it's been a good thing to be able to kind of give back in a way, so to speak. But also, accidents are down right now. The driving, I don't think you'd recognize that from Nolan Road on Saturday night right now. I mean, I think it took an hour and 15 minutes to get from 23rd Street to I-70 last week. But other than that, on a Saturday night, driving is down.
Right on.
You guys heard about the car show, man. That thing is crazy out of control.
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me my cousins go to it. Started with 3 cars about a month ago, and now it's over 500.
Wow.
Well, this last Saturday, I don't know if you know that big Kmart parking lot that, right there on I-70 and Nolan Road. So that parking lot was completely packed. You go up Nolan Road to where Harbor Freight is. That parking lot's completely packed, and it's just wall-to-wall traffic for 4 lanes all the way down Nolan Road. It's kind of like I didn't do this back when they were doing it, but man, if that's what it was like, that was crazy.
Back in the 80s, man, we cruised Nolan Road. They said it's back. Now, here's one thing Chad just said that I'm excited about. So if people are getting rebates for not driving as much, does that mean we can charge more for their houses if they're using them more now?
You bet. For sure. Why not?
Everybody's in their house a lot more right now.
Well, and I was going to say, I'm self-employed and I've been in quarantine for the last 7 years, working from home. I don't drive anywhere unless I'm going hunting. So I think I should be getting a pretty good deal on my auto insurance right now.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, a lot of these companies are doing this now, but this whole telematics thing, you've heard, for us, Aaron Rodgers, our spokes guy, he's always on TV talking about, hey, don't mess with my discount. This telematics thing is so huge right now. And that is where this industry is going, because it's our only way to basically be able to price the way that it should be according to how you drive. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is this industry is headed. And, I can't speak enough high things about that, just because there's so much details out there and so much data out there that proves that, if you're a good driver, you're not going to have accidents, and we want to be able to give back because of that. So all the companies are doing it. So if people had looked into it, this is definitely something to look at.
That's awesome. Brad, and for those who are watching, again, we'd love for you to interact, ask questions, whether it's about any of the ventures that I'm involved with, or you have questions about auto home insurance or any kind of insurance that Chad might be able to provide through State Farm, or maybe you're looking to buy or sell a home. Brad Korn with the Korn team would be happy to answer any of those questions. So feel free to engage and leave a comment here on this live stream, and we'll get to that comment here momentarily. Brad, before I went back to chat, I was asking about how this pandemic may have affected the market. And so my question, I guess, then is my house today any less or more valuable than it was before this pandemic?
Yeah. So appreciation doesn't go up really fast in Kansas City. I mean, if we get about 3 to 5% a year, we're doing good. When the market crashed, that stability also didn't make our values drop by 50%. In fact, they just kind of stopped and froze for about 6, 7, 8 years. So we're pretty stable from that perspective. We're the show me state, it's Missouri. So where the values are getting back to normal is the shortage of homes from about 2016-17 to today, and the demand with the interest rates staying at 4% and below as long as they have. It's kind of like it took 3 or 4 or 5 years where people were upside down in their house or couldn't sell their house because of the crash. And so they stayed in their houses 2, 3 years longer, and then the house inventory just got slowly bought up to where there was nothing on the market. So now there's a shortage of homes available. There's more buyers. It's that old supply and demand. So the demand is higher than the supply right now. So in certain neighborhoods and in certain price ranges, for example, 200,000 and below in Blue Springs, you are going to have a couple dozen showings if you get the right realtor. You could get 5 or 10 showings and be busy and get 2 or 3 offers. But that house should have had 20 or 30 showings with about 10 offers if it's marketed right. So you want to make sure you get the absolute highest dollar. So these might come in. I'll just give you an example. One in Lee Summit was a ranch that came on about the 215 range.
Okay.
And it had 70 showings. It had 21 offers. My buyer offered 11,000 over asking price, which is almost unheard of. But when you have 21 offers, it's all bets are off. And we were not the highest offer. I think it went about 20,000 over asking. Now, how that plays out, I could have seen probably putting the house on the market for 225, 235 and still getting 5 or 10 over. So it may have played out the same. They might have sold for a little less. They didn't have me as their realtor marketing the listing side. And I'm just a marketing guy. That's why we have so much fun chatting, Ronnie, because we have
a lot in common.
I'm a marketing guy that went to real estate school, and I'm sitting there going, they're not even talking about marketing in real estate school at all. And it's all marketing. So values haven't really gone up yet artificially if you're in the right area and if you're in the right price range. And I'm telling you, the staging, you remember staging tips make you pack up your whole freaking house. Like you can't have anything out. You gotta live on flat, nothing in the kitchen, nothing in the bathrooms. Doing that is getting more activity, more showings, and higher offers. So we still have to be careful about how high they go because the appraisers still have to find 3 sales that average what we get. So I kind of analyze the whole market for everybody based on their situation.
So based on what little I know, again, from the intel I get from my next door neighbor, is it sounds, and from what I'm hearing from you, is that anybody who's got a home that they're looking to sell that's in the $200,000 range, it's pretty much a slam dunk that they can spin it and move on to the next thing. Yeah. However, what about those that are 300 and above? Because what I've been hearing that it's without 20% down, it's pretty tough to get a jumbo loan.
It is tough. I mean, it's weird how just in the 300, 325, that's a pretty normal market. Those will still move in about 60 to 90 days. They won't have multiple offers. You might get 2 offers if you got multiple offers. And then just as you break over like the 360, 370 range, that 400 range is dead as a doornail. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. I mean, right now you could buy a $400,000 house if you're in a $350,000 house, get more square footage, nicer neighborhood, and keep your payment the same.
Right.
So it doesn't make sense that those aren't moving because we have buyers for the 350, 360 houses. So they should be buying the 400s right now because we are going about 5 or 10,000 lower than I thought they would go. Some of them even 15. Wow. And then what's weird is you get back over the 435, 445 range, you're at 460, 480. I kind of look at it this way. Those people always have money. They're going to buy whatever they want to buy. That market's still doing well. There's not an oversupply of it. So yeah, it's weird. We got
So
all
what
the
you're saying then is in that new phase of Lake Winnebago, there's really not any chance in the near future where prices are going to plummet.
no. I wish, dude. I'm right on the other side of the lake.
I know you are.
Second tier, but I can see them all. I
Yeah.
got a lake view.
It's beautiful. My in-laws live out there on Lake Winnebago, and we've always had kind of a pipe dream to want to live out there, and actually seriously considered something in that new phase, probably right around the end of it was probably mid-February, somewhere in there, and just didn't pull the trigger. And thank gosh we didn't, because had we done that, because I haven't made a red cent. Honest to God, I have not made a red cent in 2 months or more because of everything that has transpired, which is kind of what inspired this happy hour live stream. We'll get into that in just a moment, but no, that's very good to know. And it's interesting. I think it's also useful people who might be listening, who might be questioning what the value is of their property, to hear this information from the experts. So, Chad,
let me say something about that, because, Eastern Jackson County, think about it. There are not many homes that sell at $1 million and above in Kansas City in general. Mm-hmm. And see, what you think and what's really happening, I've analyzed these numbers. You can go down to Ward Parkway. I mean, there's these houses that are coming on the market for 2 million, 2.4 on Ward Parkway and all this stuff. They're not selling for 2 million. They'll sell for $1.2 million, but they started at 2.1, and so these houses over here, a lot of it's people with money that are building the houses. It's not a house that went up to see what the supply or the demand was, and they're grabbing it. These people are building their dream home. They've got money. It's kind of like when the pandemic started, the one guy that owns the company gave $1 million back to his employees because he had the right stocks. He made $1 million in 1 week. So those are the kind of people that are building those houses.
Right. Exactly. And, the people like us who just have a pipe dream of living in one of those houses, who maybe could pull it off.
Yeah.
Now it's just a little bit more difficult because you got to have that 20% down in order to even be considered for that jumbo loan.
I'm leaving flyers on their doorstep for pool boy jobs just so I can get all of it.
Chad, what with the insurance side, I think we can all agree actually that success is so much dependent upon word of mouth marketing, and it will always be the best form of marketing, in my opinion. People might have success with Google ads or TV or radio commercials, things along those lines, maybe even print ads, but the best form of advertising will always be word of mouth. And so word of mouth comes from establishing, creating, and maintaining relationships. So how difficult has it been for you to actually get out of the office when everybody's kind of on lockdown to have that FaceTime, that one-on-one with those individuals and begin and to establish that rapport?
Man, it's tough. Thankfully, I always say if this would have happened like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this would be totally different than what it is now. But thankfully, we have, we've got Zoom meetings. We've got things like what we're doing right now today, things that you've kind of started here. You've got your social media platforms. So all of that stuff has helped during these times for sure. I don't know if it's a replacement for just good face-to-face contact. I just don't believe that it is a replacement for that, but it has sure helped to bridge the gap, especially with what we're going through right now. So that in itself has been good for business owners. I think social media, it's just a spot we have to play in, like it or not like it. We have to play in it, and we have to understand what we're getting into, and we have to understand the ins and outs of that. So I think that's another piece there as well. And then, just having some success and just picking up the phone and just saying, Ronnie, how are you? How's the family? How are things going?
That's huge.
How is life treating you? Little things like that. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, because even today, the good old fashioned postcards, I write about 10 of these a day right now. And I haven't done that in the past, but it's just not needing anything, but just saying, you know what? Hey, I appreciate you. Thanks. We look forward to connecting with you again in the next few months. And that's it,
Brad,
because
go ahead. No, keep going.
You open up one of those in the mailbox, and, it could it could make somebody's day. You know what I mean? And that's what I really like about kind of what you're doing here, because one of the things that I think that you really preach on here is, man, everything's been positive that I've heard. You know, we're not doom and gloom on this thing. It's all been positive, and that's the only way we're going to make it through this thing.
I appreciate you doing that. I mean, that's what the point of this is just to kind of give people some positive, compelling content so that they, because let's face it, that's all. If you turn on the TV, all you're hearing about is the gloom and doom, and you're not hearing anything in the news. I mean, this could get me down a whole nother, topic, but you know, all you're hearing about is the gloom and doom. And you're not hearing any of the success stories like, hey, today there was 15,000 people that walked out of the hospital because they recovered from COVID-19. You know, I guess there's no success in reporting that kind of news. So what I wanted to do was just create something that was positive, maybe even inspirational. And hey, let's face it. I think that I know you guys, your friends, and that's why this is called Happy Hour with Ronnie and Friends, is it's an opportunity for me to help my friends that I've known for years that are in different business ventures. And with my network, if it's an opportunity where they can, you know, get in front of my network and help out those people, hopefully you guys are sharing this to your social media platforms as we're doing this, so that, you know, they're seeing the things that I'm involved with, and that helps me out a little bit. But the main focus is helping each other. And creating a culture of positivity and forward thinking, and surrounding yourself with those like-minded individuals. So, Brad, you know, Chad touched on something that I thought was really interesting with, you know, personalizing that communication with his clients by doing the postcards. I know that's something that you've always been a big advocate of, you know, whether it's through an email or a postcard, or even just dropping by and saying hi if you're in the neighborhood. Maybe speak to that and how that's been successful for you in real estate.
You know, it's so awesome. It's bad that we have to go through this for a lot of people to realize that. I've been running my business that way for over 20 years. So as I mentioned, I've been through 3 market shifts in the real estate where either the market crashed or whatever. And honestly, there's not a shift in my business. It's pretty solid and consistent. And I'm not a super sharp guy either. And I don't even go out and work very hard. What I did was I just made friends with everybody. And then I make sure I stay in touch with that person from that day forward. And, you know, I have a system set up that it just flags and tells me to call somebody. It's been 3 months. Now it's time to call them again. So they haven't heard from me in 3 months, but I pick up the phone, call and check in. And the handwritten note is kind of like my first line of marketing. If I meet someone, so for example, somebody calls in on a property, I throw them on a sheet and I get their address and everything, so I can drop them a note in the mail. Like this Ryan guy, just a guy that called off a sign, but I was like, hey, Ryan, it's great talking to you on the phone. Excited to see that you're going to be looking for rentals in the Kansas City area and starting your investment, you know, your world of investing, and I'll be available to help you any way I can. No business card, no nothing, just drop the card in the mail, and it's just there to say, hey, because I'm going to send him other stuff and follow up with him because my system tells me to. So right now, when I'm watching people that are looking at unemployment, $600 a week, and they're taking advantage of that to quit doing their business because their business wasn't making them $600 a week consistently, it's like everybody's chasing the next deal. And in all the business I can think of, every business that you represent, I mean, you're passionate about every one of those products. Not everybody needs it right now today, yet everybody at some point will want that or inquire about it or need it, or one of them or all of them or whatever. So we, like in real estate, the average person moves every 7 years. I have to stay in relationship with you for 7 years just to make sure that this very first meeting today is actually generates something for my business. Not that that's the purpose for the relationship. I'm just going to go ahead and do it since I've already put the energy out and met you and you're cool. I would love to do business with you too. So I have to stay in touch with them for 7 years to make sure I help everybody.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for 20 years. So it's fun to hear people writing notes, because I'll tell you, there's something crazy about a handwritten note. And I'm talking handwritten note. So there's some great services out there where they take your handwriting and digitize it. And people are like, yeah, well, can I do that? And I'm like, That's not a handwritten note.
Yeah,
It's like, I want to smear the ink and go, Brad Korn was thinking about me the whole time that he was writing
sure.
this note. That all happens subconsciously.
Yeah.
So it's great and it feels good, and people don't throw those things away.
Mhm.
So you don't need it to be branded. You don't need any of that if you're in your business for the long haul.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. And when I started working as director of business development for Commercial Cleaning Concepts and was trying to figure out the lay of the land, because as you guys, my friends, and before I get into that, I need to introduce Jay Peterson because I knew he was going to jump on here a little bit late. Jay, are you with us? Can you hear okay?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Jay, thanks for jumping on. So Jay is with Apex Windows, and we definitely want to give him an opportunity to share his business and what he's got going on. Jay, so because you don't know, Chad Mitchell is a friend of mine, a fellow outdoorsman as well, and is with State Farm Insurance. And then my buddy Brad Korn is a real estate agent who's done a lot of stuff with me over the years. And so they're all good friends. I don't know that Brad is, I don't see any taxidermy on his wall down there. Not quite the outdoorsman, but he does live close to a lake.
When people stage their houses, the first thing I tell them they have to take down is the deer head.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Somehow that reduces the value, right? That's why all the taxidermy is in my office, because my wife won't allow it in any other room of the house. Yeah. Which means I need a bigger office because I'm running out of wall space here.
I'll have a big bear behind me next time I come on.
There you go. Brad's one of these guys when he goes fishing on Lake Winnebago, he's got a night crawler and a bobber because he's trying to catch bluegill because that's all he knows how to catch, right?
You have to put a worm on it. I got to touch a worm.
Yeah, exactly. I was getting ready to say, as you guys were talking about, personalizing relationships, staying relevant in front of the clients. I about said database, but same thing. One of the things that I found in my pursuit of the commercial cleaning business, because as you know, my background was in broadcasting and then producing a TV show. So when I got approached to head up the business development department, I was like, I know nothing about this industry. And my partner, Chris Ireland, which again, by the way, I'm glad that you all are on here because you're good friends. And I've got an exciting announcement to make here that I want to share with you here momentarily, but and it involves Chris Ireland. So he said to me, Ronnie, I know you know nothing about commercial cleaning, but you know how to fake it until you make it. And there is a little bit of truth to that because I really didn't know a lot about the outdoor industry. I knew how to hunt, I knew how to fish, I knew that. But as far as creating a TV show, I was able to parlay some of that experience from radio into TV. But I knew about relationships, and that's how this whole thing comes full circle. When you're on the radio, you create a relationship with your listeners, and then you have those listeners who call into the show, maybe once a week, or some even call every day, some call multiple times a day, or you go to a concert and I run into Chad or Jay or Brad and it's like, hey, it's Ronnie from Q104. And hey, we're talking and we have that. And there's a multitude of examples like that. And so when I stepped into the commercial cleaning space, the one thing that I realized was that all of these other vendors were, as you said, Brad, just chasing the next deal. They would just say all the right things and massage and rub elbows with you just enough to get the deal. And then you were forgotten and you were moving on. And so we wanted to create 3 pillars of our brand, the Commercial Cleaning Concepts brand, as obviously quality service. That's first and foremost. If you're not doing a good job, you're not going to stay in the building. But thorough communication. And through thorough communication, you establish genuine relationships. And that was the 3 pillars that to this date has been our success. And I really have found that when I go to trade shows or, when I go visit a particular venue, for example, one of the guys in South Carolina with one of our theaters was struggling with, and can't remember which cancer it was for the life of me, but he was struggling with some cancer. And I just made a note to myself, and it wasn't for the sake of just, trying to keep his business. It was because I genuinely cared, and so I made a note, and it was just as simple with taking my phone, putting in my calendar, follow up with Don and check in and see how his family are doing. Boom, that notification goes off at 9 o'clock in the morning. Quick little email. Hey, Don, just checking in. How are things going? Is there anything I can do for you? And that stuff, it makes me feel good. Like I'm doing it because I want him to feel good and I want him to know that I care, but it also makes me feel good and it helps. It's a good start to my day because I'm doing something genuine. And I think there's a lot to be said in success, in business success, if you take that approach. So, Jay, welcome to the party, man. And Jay, I will tell you guys, Jay is one of the guys who was instrumental in introducing waterfowl hunting to me, along with my buddies Buck and Paul. And so Jay recently started a new business. Was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
It'll be 4 years this
4 years.
June.
Okay.
Yeah, so it flies by, but yeah, 4 years in June.
So all of this kind of coincides because we got the guy who sells home insurance, we got the guy who sells homes, and then we got the guy who puts high efficiency windows in homes. So tell us about Apex.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on, and hey, it's great to be on with Brad and Chad. So yeah, I mean, I had no real industry experience when it came to, kind of goes back to your point, Ronnie. Like, I didn't know everything there was to know about the home improvement industry or windows or anything like that. You know, but 4 years ago, I saw a good opportunity to buy the Apex market for Kansas City, and I took it and just kind of figured out, you know, how to go from there. But you know, the home improvement industry is not exactly known for its high standards of ethics. You got a lot of you know, Johnny Lunchbox type guys out there that, you know, they try to be a jack of all trades but a master of none, and you know, they kind of leave job sites, you know, halfway done, and you got to chase them down for months to get them to come back and finish the project. And you know, whether that's roofing or windows or, you know, plumbing, whatever it is. And so, you know, our whole business model is based upon a little different approach. Instead of us, you know, selling a multitude of lines of windows, we co-designed with a $1.5 billion manufacturer our own branded product. And so it's designed to be a one-time replacement. You know, we're not in the game where we're going to sell you something fully knowing that it's going to fail in 10 to 15 years. So then we get to come back and do it again. That's about 90% of windows that are out there. They're going to fail in 15 to 20 years. And then you're going to have to go back and replace those windows that you spent good money to replace, you know, 15, 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so ours is the lifetime product. It's triple pane. It maxes out the efficiency standards that windows can have. And so they're engineered that way. And they'll drop energy efficiency between, you know, 35 to 40% than what the standard is out there in the industry. And then we just don't do traditional advertising. So instead of pouring millions of dollars into TV and radio and billboards, which fall on deaf ears now, instead we just offer a high quality product at a really affordable rate. So, you know, kind of the analogy I give is that we can give you, you know, a Mercedes for what it would cost you to drive like a loaded up Kia. And so nothing against Kias or anything like that, but if you can get the luxury high performance product for less, you know, why wouldn't you do that? And so, you know, we're the highest rated window company in Kansas City. You know, we've got over 10,000 reviews nationally, and we're a 4.5 out of 5 star. And it's all based upon our idea of there's got to be a better way to approach the industry. So, yeah, we're having a fun time doing it. You know, we feel really good about what we do. We have the best installers in Kansas City. And so we just take a higher quality approach to the industry.
I love it. I love it. So, you know, this particular show has been on for 5 weeks. It's sponsored by Commercial Cleaning Concepts, Heartland Waterfowl, the Little Black Box, none of which are paying me for this. And so I was just wondering, since you don't do traditional advertising, how do you feel about advertising on the digital space? Because I'm looking to make a buck here or something.
Hey, man, you know, I always have a buddy out. So.
No, I'm kidding. I'm playing around. Chad, how does it affect homeowners on the insurance side when you're doing an evaluation of a home and how you're going to insure it? Does windows and the efficiency of windows factor in at all?
You know, I think a lot of it does on the newer homes for sure. Okay. And the biggest reason for that is newer construction has always been cheaper to insure than an older construction, and for rightful reason. So windows per se are not going to make that big of an impact on a rate, so to speak. But windows will make a big impact on a replacement cost because, you know, Jay can tell you, I mean, if you've just got a builder's grade window in there the difference between the cost to rebuild that house in the event of a storm or anything else is going to be totally different than the cost to rebuild a home that has got Jay's windows in it, just because of the difference in grade. So it impacts it to that degree. But as far as the degree, as far as saying, hey, can I get discounts because I got new windows? There's nothing out there just yet. But here's the thing. This industry is changing all the time. Efficiency is the key. That is the big deal. And although it hasn't impacted the insurance industry just yet, not to say that it can't. So it's always a good thing, because if you're not saving from insurance on that efficiency side of things, I mean, just from a guy who got new windows, yeah, that helps for sure.
Right. Well, and I guess it definitely provides value to someone who's looking to sell a home, I would imagine. And that's a selling point for any real estate agent who can walk into a home and say, oh, you've got one of these Ferrari type windows. You're not going to have to worry about paying ridiculous utility prices because of the previous owners putting in, these nice Apex windows. You're muted.
I forgot to do that. I didn't want to cough and interrupt you earlier.
That's all right.
No, I mean, here's the thing. That's the marketing piece that I was telling you about, that, being a marketing guy, I have every one of my sellers fill out a sheet of every detail. Like I say, if you're selling this to your best friend and you're going to walk through and tell them everything, I need to know all of that stuff, because you gotta stand out above everybody else. They're not going to know how awesome the windows are if you don't tell them. So that's great that when they know that when those are going in, that's even something there to say, now, if you ever sell this house, make sure you tell the realtor that you got these windows.
Sure.
And I get utility records to show all that stuff, because that's stuff buyers want to see when they're buying a house. So yeah, I just do it automatically.
Absolutely. Hey, so again, for everybody who's watching, again, feel free to engage. We have Chad Mitchell with State Farm, Brad Korn, a real estate agent with the Korn team, Jay Peterson with Apex Windows. If you have any questions or would like to engage in any capacity, we'd love to hear from you. Jay, what is the impact of the pandemic been on your sales? As we were talking earlier, you weren't on, but we were talking, you seeing from your clientele, because obviously you guys offer very affordable rates, but who is your client? I mean, I guess it's anybody really, but like how has the pandemic affected anybody who's looking to make improvements to your home? Because while they may not see, they may be worried about making a financial investment or spending that money because they don't know if they're going to have it tomorrow. They may not really understand the actual return that they're going to get by having the windows in the home.
No, it's a great question, Ronnie. And, we saw just a slight dip in April as everything was kind of unrolling with stay at home. We do a little more direct marketing. So we have a set of junior partners that will go out and actually, interact with homeowners. And we wanted to be sensitive to the stay at home order. We didn't want to violate any of the city ordinances. And so we kind of called off, that line of marketing that we do. So we saw a little bit of a dip in April. But what we saw happening was the influx of calls in went up dramatically, of people finding us on the internet, through Google and Facebook and places like that. Because what we found was everyone's stuck at home. And so they're noticing all the home improvements that they need to do that maybe they've been ignoring, is really kind of starting to get to them. And they're seeing their bad windows. They're feeling the drafts, because we have had some colder days. And so it's kind of prompted some people to really kick in the need to get these home improvements done, because, and this is one of the reasons why, it was a no-brainer for me to shift from more of a luxury product industry that I was in before into the home improvement space, is because people are either going to fix up their homes to stay, or they're going to fix them up to sell, depending on if it's an up market or a down market, or, up market or up economy or down economy. And so we're really starting to pick up business now. And I think we're going to have probably a record summer that we've ever had before.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it. I guess I'm going to just give you guys my announcement now, because I ran out of questions, unless you have anything else you want to add. Do you have anything else? Chad, you got anything?
No, other than the fact that I think this pandemic affected turkey hunting, but other than that, we're good.
I never saw any pictures from Jay. Did you get a turkey this year?
Oh, I missed. I was out with my oldest daughter, and I put one too high.
Oh,
I should have left in my modified choke from Heartland Waterfowl. I think I would have probably had a better shot to hit it because it was that close, and I just put it right over the top of it, and I would have gotten the Missouri Triple Crown of the morels, the turkey, and the crappie. So I missed mine.
he just admitted publicly on a live stream, live stream, that he took out a Heartland Waterfowl choke tube.
I know I shouldn't have. I thought you'd do full.
Well, thank Jay for coming to the show today. No, I'm kidding. Guys, listen. I have so much respect for each one of you in your own rights, and I'm honored that you guys took the time to come on and be a part of this. I'm not really expecting anything out of it other than your friendship and hopefully an opportunity to help you guys succeed during a tough time, and hopefully by creating some compelling content about you, it brings notice to your networks about what it is that I'm doing. It's been a tough couple months, but it has been for everybody. So I'm not looking for a pity trip, but I'm looking forward to 90% of the facilities we clean are entertainment venues, and naturally they're all shut down. So we're not making any money right now. But that being said, I'm excited to announce that during this time, we were beating our head. You might have been seeing some of my content on Facebook where I was talking about PPI, which is Perspective, Patience, Innovation. And I can't say that I created that. That's something I stole from Gary Vaynerchuk, who I'm a big, big fan of. And you guys know that I love personal development and Eric Thomas, and people like Tony Robbins. And I like taking in that content on a daily basis. It kind of helps me. It's like having my coffee before my coffee. And when I woke up one day and I saw Gary talk about, hey, look, these are going to be tough times. And during these tough times, this was right at the beginning of the pandemic, he was talking about perspective, patience, innovation. And so patience or perspective obviously is, hey, look, we have our health, we have our family, we have our house, we have food in the cupboard, it could be worse. Patience is that this is going to take some time. Let's all recognize that. And let's just know that it's not all gloom and doom. We just got to wait it out. And so just reside to the fact that you're going to have to be patient. And then the innovation part, which was kind of a struggle for me because I was trying to put the innovation before the patience. And I was trying to find ways that I could get creative and innovative to combat this issue. And so there was oftentimes I would get frustrated and even borderline depressed because I was like, I can't think of something. I can't figure it out. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm not making any money. And so I was like, okay, stop, pump the brakes, be patient. When its time is right, it'll happen. But just open your mind to being creative and innovative. And I think we stumbled across something to a certain capacity. And that is that my partner and I are getting ready to launch a brand new business called Corn Clean. So not quarantine, but rather Corn Clean. And so the idea behind this is that during this time, and this is the first time I'm announcing it. So you guys on this show are hearing it first, and anybody, the 6 people who are watching, is that we were trying to figure out how could we create value to our facilities in a time when, let's say, for example, Power and Light District, who is one of our, big clients, they have not been open. And so they're going to be looking for ways to cut costs, possibly because they haven't been making money over the next 2 months. Let's face it, the cleaning side is sometimes the first thing to be evaluated when they're getting ready to cut something. So how can I create value without raising rates? Because now with this, they're talking about disinfecting. Well, nobody ever talked about disinfecting before this. It was always sanitizing. And the difference is disinfecting actually kills the germ. Sanitizing basically just removes the germ. And so to provide disinfecting now, we have to up our labor. We have to add more chemicals, which means we have to charge more. So how can we not charge our clients in a time where they're looking to save money? And so we launched our company called Clean. It is a separate company that's complements. It's a company of products that complements the services that we provide. Essentially, it's a chemicals company. So and the big one right now is hand sanitizer, and we've got a lot of it. And that's one thing that is really hard to come by right now. And so here in the coming days, the site will be live. As a matter of fact, for anybody who's looking for making bulk orders, you can message me directly, and we could probably fix if it's anywhere from pint to quart or gallon sizes. If you order in large volume, we can probably accommodate those orders right now before our site is launched. But anywhere from to disinfectants to sanitizing to soaps to we can do degreasers. We can do, if you have a business and it requires a chemical, we can provide it. And so we have a tremendous relationship with the manufacturer who's allowing us to private label these products. And we are very, very excited to be able to provide what we, in our mission, is hoping to provide chemicals and sanitizing to not only to our clients, but we can also provide it to the general public. And we can do it at a time when those items are being upcharged because of the demand. We're naturally not going to give it away. That would be bad business, right? We're in the business of making money just like anybody else, but we want to offer fair and competitive prices. So I'm excited to share with my friends and anybody who's watching that coming soon to the World Wide Web is corncleanbyc3.com. Check it out. And if you are a facility or anyone who is in need of chemicals, it doesn't matter if you need soap or any kind of chemical for your car wash, or you need back of house in the kitchen of a restaurant, or front of house where stripping or waxing, or even paint thinner, paint, lacquer, whatever it is, our company can provide it. So you guys are the first to find out.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We'll see how it turns out. But it's nothing. I guess I say it's not really innovative because chemicals have been around for a while, but it's been an opportunity for us to establish a relationship with the manufacturer where now we can control the margin of the chemicals, and we can use that as an opportunity to provide better pricing because they're already buying chemicals somewhere, right? So now we can provide them the chemicals, maybe even provide it for a little bit less than what they were already paying. And then it helps us with the retention with the services that we're already providing. So we'll see what happens, but there's a massive demand for hand sanitizer. Do you guys need some? You guys want some hand sanitizer?
You know what? The toilet paper companies figured it out. They filled shortly after they ran out. Where the heck is Purell? I mean, thank goodness for you. They're not on the ball, man. They're sleeping at the wheel.
Sure.
Yeah.
Get it there, dude. Everybody's waiting for it. There's none at the Walmart shelves. Just go straight to Walmart and tell them you'll stock their shelves daily.
You guys do like a Clorox wipe type product?
Yeah, so we don't have that. We don't have the I's dotted and the T's crossed yet for the wipes, but we are in discussion with the manufacturer about that, and that is coming soon.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, hey guys, we're coming up on an hour of this, and I just want to tell you again how much I appreciate your friendship to each of you, and I appreciate your willingness to jump on here and be a part of this in efforts to create some positive and maybe even a little bit of fun conversation, maybe even a little compelling as it applies to each business that you guys own. So if you guys are interested, anybody who's watching, actually, you know what? Before we leave, there is a few people that did chime on here. So I want to say hi. Ben Goldberg is just saying hello. I know he lives out at Lake Lotawana. Joe Masher. So you guys know Joe Masher is the chief operating officer of Bowtie Cinemas based out of New York City. And he is a client of ours. And Joe apparently just heard me make the announcement, and he said he heard it here first. And he wants to catch up tomorrow, I guess, sometime after. He wants to hear more about the chemicals that we provide. So, yes, I'm very excited about that. Joe has a lot of theaters. What's that?
You got the big wigs on here.
We got a couple, I guess. You guys are the big wigs. I'm just the guy next to the guy.
I don't know. Actually, the back door was open. I snuck in.
Chad, any parting words before we let you go?
Man, no, Ronnie, I appreciate being on here with Brad and Jay, and guys, nice to make the connection with you guys. But Ronnie, thanks for putting this together, man. Here's what I realized today. You know, you said that as a radio goob, you didn't have the business acumen. Man, you've got it. I think after now, I realize you were an entrepreneur stuck in the body of a radio disc jockey. So you know, it all works. So thanks for putting this together. Best of luck to all of you guys. This has been good. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So if anybody has questions about insurance, whether it be auto, home, health, am I missing anything there? Life.
We do it all.
Yeah. Reach out to Chad Mitchell, State Farm. And you guys are based out of Green Valley?
Nope. Based out of Independence.
Independence. Okay. Fantastic. Chad Mitchell. All right. Brad, any parting words?
Yeah. Get together a house packet that we can put in every house that we put for sale that they can disinfect as they're going through the house, wipe their hands down. Okay. It's like home safe. I got this home safe certification. Now I need the home safe kit that we can market to all the realtors.
I love it.
So that when you're showing a house, you're not, you're cleaning it as you go behind, because there's a lot of houses with a lot of showings and a lot of people going through them.
It's like a first aid kit with cleaning supplies, basically.
Put them together. I'm in.
Okay, great. Brad, thank you, for being on. Jay, I know you kind of came in late, would have liked to have had more time with you, but
yeah,
thanks for jumping on. Love what you're doing with Apex Windows. Any parting words?
No, man. I love your entrepreneurial spirit, Ronnie, and your friendship too. So I think it's good that we get on here and we all stay connected in a disconnected kind of world where we can't get together and, have a beer at the bar or whatever it is. And I'd love to talk to you about your new line of products. I think we could definitely integrate it within, what we're doing on the sales as well as the install side to keep our clients safe.
Well, and thank you. And like I said, this live stream is about helping friends. And, in a time like this, I think it's important to help each other. And I think that we all have this entrepreneurial spirit. And one thing that I've learned in my first steps, and Brad and Jay were actually very a part of those first steps. I'll never forget Brad being at my house and we were talking about a business venture. Do you know what I'm going to say?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah. And as you were walking out the door, Brad said, you got to be good at what you do, but some of the most successful, be good at what play to your strengths, but the most successful people have multiple streams of income. And I never heard that for whatever reason. And I was probably, 37 at the time. I'm 44 now. And for whatever reason, that stuck with me. And
I made it up, and look at you. You already proved it. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, had I put all of my eggs in one basket, it would be really, really, really tough times right now. And fortunately, because I haven't, I've been able to kind of absorb the shock from this. So, and of course, Jay and my involvement with you, and I have no shame in telling my story about being involved in network marketing and you being a part of that and kind of that personal development that I became passionate about and became, I guess I became, what am I trying to say? I never really put myself out there to learn about personal development and really searched for it and really didn't know anything about it until I got involved with you. And so as part where I'm basically going with all this as I ramble is that I've learned in this entrepreneurial lifestyle that you actually get more success when you genuinely care about helping other people. And that's what this is about. If I get something out of this, great, but I genuinely care about you guys. And if I, from my network, can turn a few people onto you, whether it's Chad in insurance and somebody wanting to sell a home and Brad helping them with that, or somebody looking to do some home renovations and needing some new windows with you, Jay, even if it's just one person that I could send your way, that would make me feel good. And I believe in karma, and somewhere down the line, I'm not doing it for karma, but if it's somewhere down the line it works out, then even better.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thoughts, Ronnie?
I appreciate that. So if you guys who are watching, if you get a chance, check us out online, cleaningbyc3.com. Shortly soon, there's going to be a new website also called corncleanbyc3.com, where you can check out our long long list of chemicals, cleaning chemicals, and more that we provide. Check out Heartland Waterfowl coming to Sportsman's Channel in July. It's our 7th season. Hard to believe. If you're looking to save money and get amazing content through your TV, well, we can save you some money because we have this little black box that gets you more content than you can possibly fathom, and it will get you that and more than what you could ever get from cable and satellite television. You can find us on Facebook at Little Black Box for TV. And finally, my wife and I would love for you to check out myzaya.com/Brucker. We have some great, awesome activewear. The clothes are fantastic. I am a huge fan. I used to be an Under Armour everyday kind of guy, and I've completely replaced my wardrobe with this stuff. I think you're going to love it. Check it out on Thursdays at 4:00 as I visit with some friends and hopefully share some positive and compelling content with all of you guys. So that being said, once again, guys, I really appreciate you joining. I hope that you guys have a wonderful week, and I hope that you all survive this tough time. All right. Take care, y'all.
Take care, fellas.
See ya.